Yes, am I audible now? Good morning, all. Am I audible? Thank you. So, welcome all again to this new session on the anatomy division. Myself, Dr. Ankit Khandilal, and I'm educator of anatomy. Code for you guys is Dr. Ankit 10. Try to join the Unacademy Plus subscriptions to get all the classes, all the subjects, multiple faculties, recorded version, X, Y, Z, everything. Whatever you can hope for, you'll get. And you can apply this code to get 10% off. Okay. So this is a special class, guys, for it's good morning, all of you, for 90 minutes, 1.5 hours. And today we will be focusing on histology aspect. And after that, if we completed this, we will be going to the thorax and some part of this. Okay. So all subjects, yes, all the subjects, all the 19 subjects, there are so many things. Once you come into it, you try to attend the classes, the test series, you'll get to know that what is there. See, one thing, let me be open with you. Every subject is having multiple faculties. So that is one thing. Why? Because if I'm a student, there are like 4 or 5 faculties for a subject. I'm in tune with only 1 or 2 faculties. It's like mental tuning now. That whatever they say, we try to absorb that much and that much faster and something like that. So every subject is having multiple faculties. They are having live classes, all the recorded versions, explanations, doubt clearing sessions, tests, quizzes. I mean, you'll be tired of that. How which class to attend, which class not to attend. There are so many classes going on, live and recorded both. So there'll be you'll have the power to choose. Yes, I will be attending this classes, and I made my concepts over here. I'll be doing these MCQs and fine. That is the only benefit which I'm telling you. What would I it only depends on your what is your level. What do you think? How what would I recommend if I was a student at that time of when I was preparing for PG exams and all? That depends on, it is a very interpersonal approach. You get, you yourself are mature guys. You take a look at what are you getting, what do you need. If it is matching, then go for it. What I need, if I'm getting that thing, if it is matching, go for it. Don't ask everyone. Everyone will have different. Ask yourself, because you are the one who is going to be responsible after you buy it. So first of all, spend 1 or 2 days, try to think over it. Ask 1 or 2 friends over there, what is your correct position. If you want to have a detailed, detailed discussion, then you can message me. You can message me in the Telegram or in the Unacademy app. I'll try to help you interpersonally over there. Even if there is any confusion, the best thing is it is interpersonal, very very much personal. Okay. Yes, if there's any confusion, just message me, because here everyone starts to ask little difficult. Okay. Yes, pattern is changing. Pattern is never changing. This all the topics remain the same. Yes, some patterns you may say may change, but yeah, topics remain the same. Okay. Okay. So yes, I'm open for discussion. No worries about that. I will give you my best honest opinion. Don't worry about that. What is my best honest opinion? I will give you that only. Okay. So here we go. Here we start. So we are going to start today with few of the histology questions, MCQs. Then we'll go with the histology images. So I want you to have your quick revision of this part, because 2 3 questions they come from this part. Okay. Yes, morning, Aditi, and yes, morning, Aditi, and all of you. Welcome all. And I guess we can start now. Yes. So there are a few theory-based MCQs. Oh no, yeah, yes, no problem. We all are new only, Aditya. Every day is a new day. We all are new only. Don't worry about being new or old over here. Okay. So Eagle and Aditya, as you are new, answer only in the poll. Okay. Don't answer in the comment box. The only thing which you should know as a newcomer in this platform, answer only in the poll, not in the comment box. Type your comments in the comment box. That is the only thing. Okay. So which part of elementary canal line was started by discovery of epithelium? Intestine, appendix, oral or nose nasal cavity? Yes, here is a poll, here is a poll. So answer only in the poll. Okay. That is the only thing which you need to know, else everything is same. All are on the same level. There are few theory-based MCQs, then we'll go to the image-based MCQs, then we'll go to the images. As simple as that. Try to cover your every part of the histological today. Good. 30 seconds only. Yes, very good. 60% to start with oral cavity. Yes, I guess we all of us know that with the surfaces, Shrisha. Shrisha, answer in the comment, answer in the poll, not in the comment box. In the comment box, you type your comments. Whatever we ask, whatever there anything you want to ask, you want to tell, answer that. But in the for MCQs, answer only in the poll. That is a fine kind request, else everyone gets not distracted by your answer. It may be right, may be wrong. That is a different thing. So yes, which is lined with stratified squamous epithelium, the part of the body which are exposed to the outside environment. They are the parts which are exposed to most of the friction. So therefore, their epithelium has to be a protective epithelium. And what better protection you can get else from this stratified squamous? Can there be any other better protection than in stratified squamous? The answer is no. Therefore, you have the stratified squamous epithelium lining the oral cavity. The same epithelium lining the skin. In the skin, it is mainly keratinized. In the epithelium, oral mucosa and all, it is partially keratinized or non-keratinized. That is the only thing. Okay. Yes, keratinize and I'm telling you that only, but that is outside. Why you need keratinize and non-keratinize over here and there? What is the difference? The keratin. One is the keratin. Second thing is you have the wet mucosa over here, underlying wet. This keratinized epithelium is not wet. It is not wet. It is a dead cells. Okay, that is the only difference. Okay. Okay. Next one. Identify the incorrect statement. Cells of the gallbladder epithelium secrete the organic and bile. Serous saliva contains amylase. Chief cells, principal gland, stomach secrete pepsinogen. CCK secretin stimulates the release of bile and pancreatic juice. A, B, C, D. Identify the incorrect statement. 30 seconds. All the best. Again, not very difficult. Histology questions are not very difficult. We just need to know the basic concept. That is all. Last 5. Okay, very good. Yes. So yes, option A is the wrong one. Okay, there is a leaderboard. There is a leaderboard. So congrats to all of you. Option A is the wrong one. The gallbladder epithelium is not secreting any part of the bile. It is not a secretory epithelium which secretes the bile. It means only for the concentrate. All the other statements are fine. Saliva contains the chief cell secrete. The CC can secrete in arden for that. Gallbladder epithelium is mainly for storage and concentration of the bile, which is secreted by the epithelium or the cells in the liver. It is not meant for secretion, it is meant for storage and concentration. In this first statement, guys, this is the wrong one. Transitional epithelium line the tubules allow the tubules, podocyte this, osmotic in PCT this. Increase in the surface area of PCT by numerous long microvilli facilitate the absorption. Read it and answer it. Wrong statement. Ample time. 10 more seconds. Twenty 40 ABC 20 40 and last option around 20 again. The wrong statement is option number A. The tubules are the tubules lined by transitional epithelium? Answer is no. Then why is this the correct? This is the incorrect statement. You need not go into the other options. You would have stuck to the first option only. Are the tubules lined by transitional epithelium? No. It is mainly the, yes, Ravi, mainly the bladder and the ureter. They are lined by the transitional epithelium. Okay, not the tubules. Podocytes, yes. Osmotic, yes. There's too much of absorption. The PCT increase in surface area by microvilli. Therefore, 75% absorption. C and D are complementary to each other. That is a statement. Transitional epithelium is not there in the tubules. What are the lining of tubules? PCTs, DCTs. What is the lining epithelium over here? I will show you the slide later on. Because what is the lining epithelium? Very good. Mainly cuboidal epithelium. Mainly they are the cuboidal epithelium, and their transition is multi-layered. Transition is transition changing from stratified squamous to stratified cuboidal. It is in transition phase. Okay, so that is not lining the tubules. Okay, take it easy, guys. 30 seconds or not less. Maybe I will increase the time. That's few questions. Which is the correct statement over here? Okay, ejaculation results from assumed the contraction of this and that. BPH is result of peripheral zone. Spermatocytes are stored in the vesicles. Corpora amylaceae are a characteristic feature of seminal vesicles, which is a correct statement A, B, C, D, and there you go. 20 seconds. Five, 35, 30, and 20. A, B, C. 30. Okay. Answer is simply this. Okay. Identify the correct statement over here. Maybe you're sometimes confusing between correct and incorrect. Ejaculation, mediated mainly by the sympathetic nervous system, is due to the smooth muscle contraction of vas deferens and ductus epididymis. What is wrong in this statement? Option A, what I'm asking you, what is wrong in this statement? Is there anything you seem like having incorrect in this statement? No, it is completely right. That is the answer over here. BPH result of which zone? Yes, guys, we study that in the first year also, we study that in the surgery also, we study that in the pathology also, and many other areas. BPH is used for hyperplasia in which zone? Peripheral zone or transition zone, central zone? Yes, what is? Yes, basically periurethral or the transition zones periurethral, because BPH initially it leads to constriction of the ureter. Okay, no, mainly the urethra which is passing through the prostate, so that it gives rise to symptoms. So BPH is from here. Peripheral zone is for the carcinomas. It is famous for the carcinomas. Okay, spermatocytes are not stored in the terminal part of the seminal vesicles. Where are the spermatocytes stored? Where are the spermatocytes stored? Yes, the spermatocytes, they are stored in the epididymis for their maturation. And corpora amylaceae is what? What is corpora amylaceae? That is found in the prostatic concretions. I'll show you in the images also corpora amylaceae. Okay. So option A, simple and correct. Don't think of any other here and there. Just go with it. Easy. Which cell type forms the major connective tissue component of lymphoid tissues and organs, which is present mainly in the lymphoid tissues? A, B, C, D, and there you go. 30 seconds is enough. Spongocyte, reticular, collagen type 1, or elastic? Very good. 60 and 23%. That is good number. Yes, they are the reticular cells. They are the reticular cells. They are the reticular cells. They are known as collagen type. Collagen type 3. Yes, they are the collagen type 3. They are abundant in the lymphoid tissues, liver, spleen, lymph nodes. The type of connective tissue in these lymphoid tissues are mainly collagen type 3, or they are reticular. Initially they were called as different. Now they're known as collagen type 3. Okay. Yes, don't worry, Sarah, if you have no idea. We have many things about which we don't have any idea. That is why we have these sessions. These are practice sessions. Take it lightly, have a cup of tea or water, whatever you want to have, and enjoy the session. Revise them, and you will be through. Okay, there are many things which you have no idea. Like in the starting, we have no idea which subscription we have to buy. So that we're here, we are to over here to guide. Okay, how are cells equal to fibers? I can get you. Cells form fibers. Cells, they they secrete fibers. Okay, Harsh. Cells, they secrete fibers. Like fibroblasts, they will secrete the collagen fibers, secrete the elastic fiber. From where are the fibers coming? They're coming from the cells. So cells, they secrete the fibers. Okay, here you may be confused with cells. They are sometimes used interchangeably. Don't worry too much about them. Okay, reticular cells or reticular fibers. They're formed from the fibers. Okay, like in connective tissue, what we have the cells. Yes, basically a type of fibroblast which will secrete reticular fibers. We can say them reticular cells. No, this is the comment section where you are commenting. That is only comment section. Okay, rest we have the poll. Rest we have the poll. So there are cells, there is matrix, and there is fibers. These are the three things of any connective tissue. The cells, like main component is fibroblast. They are going to secrete the fibers and the matrix. Because the main component are the cells in any connective tissue. That I've taken a session in the histology. I did not a complete course in here. If any guys come into the plus course, we have a dedicated course only in the histology. There's a dedicated course only on that. Everything in detail. So here, yes, that will come in the Tawhid, that will come in the what we have the, all the images now. There we have few tables also. I guess that will come in there only. Okay, don't worry about that. Collagen type 1, collagen type 4, basement membrane type 1 form in bones, type 2 forms in other tissues like elastic fibers, type 3 reticular, and so on and so forth. Okay, don't worry about that. You will get it. Dominant cell type in periarterial lymphoid sheath. Periarterial lymphoid sheath, PALS, also called as PALS. What is the dominant cell seen over there? A, B, C, D. Periarterial lymphoid sheath. So there's an artery going on, and around this artery, you have a sheath of lymphoid cells around this artery. You have to answer these lymphoid sheaths are of T, B lymphocyte, reticular fibers, or they are macrophages. 35, 32 with A and B. Yes, no, Nitish, you are not too late. Don't worry. In that is a good point in Unacademy. We are never late. Although we should be in time. If you want to enjoy the live class, I'll give the recorded version always. Okay. Yes, these are the T lymphocytes. So PLS are basically your T lymphocytes. Your T lymphocytes. T. Okay. Remember this. TLS, T lymphocyte. Okay, the rest is all mainly found in the spleen, as Nitish is pointing towards. They are the red pulp and the white pulp. They are the red pulp and the white pulp. Yes, those they are mainly covered in the spleen part. But remember, when the artery is coming, like your what you say, the central artery, which is lying where in the white pulp in the eccentric artery, like we call that as a centric arteriole. The lymphatics just surrounding that artery is always a T lymphocyte. So that is known as PLS. Okay, in the screen will show you the slide. Which layer of epidermis is responsible for the barrier function of the epidermis? Barrier. Dermis, papillary, corneum, lucent, thin skin. Simple question. Don't think too much. It's a very basic question. Don't worry too much. Simple barrier. Which is the barrier in the skin? And I guess most of you will be able to answer it. Good, around 70% is a fairly good deal. The answer over here is simple and sweet. That is our stratum corneum. We know the layers, the corneum at the uppermost layer. What lies below the corneum? Anyone? Iridium? Answer in the poll, please. Okay. Yes, below the corneum lies lucidum, which is very rarely seen, if seen mainly in the thick skin. That is a clear layer. Below the lucidum lies what? Stratum? What? Yes, granulosum. Okay, you answered everything. There are 2 to 3 layers having granules, keratohyaline granules. Then stratum. Stratum what? Stratum spinosum. After preparation, their projections look like spines, and then you have the basement membrane, stratum basal, having the stem cells inside it. Okay. Okay, we'll show you in the figures also, which is the incorrect over here. The maturation of spermatid into spermatocyte is known as this. Sertoli cells form this. Malignant changes in the prostate are often changes seen in this. Spermatocyte which leave the testes are structurally mature and motile. A, B, C, D. Try to answer. Very related question which we did previously about 5 minutes back. Ten more seconds. Think and answer. Don't worry. Easy one. Okay, very good. More than 50%, even a fair number. Yes, answer is our D, spermatocytes which leave the testes. Are they mature motile? Answer is no. They are not mature motile. They gain their maturation, much of their maturation in epididymis, where they are actually stored. If you look at the other options, all others are correct. This is the definition of spermiogenesis plus testis barrier. Peripheral zone we just discussed for the malignant change. For the malignant change, the periurethral, the transition was for the BPH, the benign prostatic hypertrophy. This is the wrong statement over here. Identify the correct now. Identify the correct now. Blood plasma can freely pass through the wall of fenestrate capillaries, smooth muscle cells in the wall of elastic arteries, regulate the blood supply. The elastic lamella allow elastic arteries to function as a pressurized blood reservoir. The contraction of smooth muscle in the wall of vein restrict the venous return. A, B, C, D, four options. Which is the correct over here? 1 second. Yes, there you go. Read all the statements, answer in the last 10 seconds or 5 maybe. Okay, 23, 32, 30, A, B, and C. So slight confusion over here. Let us see what is the confusion. Blood plasma can freely pass. No, it does not pass freely through the fenestrated capillary. Blood plasma does not pass freely through the fenestrated capillaries. Okay, plasma doesn't pass freely. There are fenestrated capillaries, but the plasma doesn't pass freely. That is a wrong statement. Smooth muscle cells in the wall of elastic arteries. We have tunica intima. We have this thick tunica media having the muscle cells as well as the elastic fibers. Now, smooth muscle cells in the elastic arteries regulate the blood supply to their target tissues. Can you give me the examples of elastic arteries, guys? Any one or two example which you think is the better or easy example of elastic artery? Yes, aorta. Very good. Adit said aorta. Okay, and all of you are agreeing with Adit, aorta. Now tell me, aorta is elastic artery. It has tunica media. Its tunica media will obviously have the smooth muscle. Will obviously have the smooth muscle. Does the smooth muscle in the aorta will it regulate the blood supply to target tissues? Imagine the heart over here, which is contracting. It contracted from the LV, went to the aorta. Now this muscle will regulate the blood distally, or it is already regulated by LV? I guess it is already regulated by LV. When it contracts, blood has to pass through the aorta. So elastic arteries, in those elastic arteries, the smooth muscle are not for regulating the blood supply. They are the main which are in the muscular arteries. Then their function is in the arterioles to regulate some amount of the blood going distally. In the muscular arteries, like small arterioles and small arteries, there they may function to regulate the blood supply to target tissues. Not in the aorta. Aorta, the name is elastic artery because it is having, apart from the muscles, it is having a lot of elastic fibers, and that was our option number C. That the elastic lamellae allow a function to as a pressurized blood reservoir. The vessel already is pressurized, so when the blood will pass through with the increased pressure, it will like elastic will stretch and come back, because all the time the left ventricle is pumping blood into it with increased pressure. So you need to have elastic lamellae. They're nothing other than nothing same as elastic fibers in the tunica media. Okay, consider them as elastic fibers. So their main function is there's a lot of pressure of blood coming towards them to the wall. What we measure as a blood pressure by a sphygmomanometer. There is a lot of pressure of blood coming on their face. So their wall need to be more elastic. So it acts as a pressurized blood reservoir, the elastic artery in the aorta. Okay. Contraction of smooth muscle in the wall of vein restriction, that is not controlling the return of venous blood to the heart. The contraction is not. There are smooth muscles in the walls, but they don't control the return of venous blood. How will they be act as a reservoir? Pressurized blood reservoir, not as a blood. See, when there is heart problem, still there is BP measurement. No, these elastic arteries, they will actually expand and then they will contract. So there's a pressurized blood reservoir. When they expand, the blood is inside them. Then they come back because they have elastic fibers. Then they act as a, yes, see, when they expanded, the blood went inside them. Aorta is a big vessel. When they expanded, the pressure of the LV came, they are slightly expanded, elasticity. Now they are acting as a reservoir, but that elastic has to come back again. They are acting as a pressurized blood reservoir. They are acting as a pressurized blood reservoir. It is, I'm explaining in a much bigger way, but you have to think of it. Okay. Yes, there are various type of capillaries, Nitish. We'll come to that artery figure also. That fenestrator capillaries in other parts like in the brain capillaries also they are different. We'll come to that part. Fenestrated and discontinuous they are two different than what are forming the blood-brain barrier also. Yes, obviously it is transient. Whenever there is no in the systolic phase, only it function on that phase of the cardiac cycle only. It is elastic fibers having elasticity. Okay, yes, it is cool. Aditya, November is coming and it is already cool. Which type of cell, which cell type found in the epithelium of the bronchioles is functionally similar to alveolar type 2 cells? A, B, C, D. Yes, in bronchioles, what is there? Last 10 seconds. This is frequently asked question. Very good. And as we can see from the responses also. Yes, very good. More than 70 is a fairly good number. Nearly most of you. Yes. Answer is the Clara cells in the bronchioles. They act as alveolar type 2 cells in the bronchioles. So in the bronchioles, you have Clara cells. Yes, also are known as Oat cells also known as Oat cells if I'm not wrong. But yes, Clara is definitely the answer. So bronchioles have Clara cells which act as like our alveolar cells. Pituitary says, where is pituitary? Adit is asking, where is pituitary? Pituitary, have you heard of anyone? Think of an organ named as pituitary. Think of an organ named as pituitary. Okay, where in the pituitary you can get it? Where in the pituitary? Yes, in the posterior pituitary you have pituitarides. Posterior pituitary you have pituitarides. Small. Yes, very good. Glials in the posterior pituitary. Posterior pituitary, if you remember, posterior pituitary having the normal like hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. The supraoptic and the paraventricular nuclei, they will send their axons over there. These get secreted over there, but there are few glial cells which are known as pituitarides, in which function both are similar. I didn't get you. For carrying releasing, yes, for carrying releasing hormones from the hypothalamus. Releasing hormones normally go to the entry pituitary. These are actually the hormones which are coming down, which are your vasopressin and oxytocin. Okay, now we are done with this. Now we'll go to the image based questions. Image based questions, and try to look at these images. Try to look at these images and try to answer. Yes, glial cells are normally astrocytes for carrying releasing hypothalamus. Clara ANV type 2. Okay. Look at these images now in the histology. Identify it fast. A, B, C, D, again four options, and identify, is it a villus, GALT, lamina propria, central vein? I guess the options are not that much difficult. You will be able to answer them. Share this leaderboard also now, no? Too much of time. Last couple of seconds, around 70%. Yes, very good. Yes, these are your villas. This is your leaderboard. So very good, Chandan, Sally, Sumedha, Naz, Eagle, Ravi, Shankar, welcome again. Ragini, Chinu, Raj, Harsh, very good. Okay. Yes, what are these? Are simply they are villas. They are simply the arrows pointing towards the villas. They are simply villas. You can see the mucosa, the submucosal part, the muscle part, the adventitia part, a part of intestine. This is your villus over here. Next slide. Identify this. Yes, portal triad. Is it a brush border, submucosa, or submucosal gland? A, B, C, D, and answer. Try to answer this. Take a look. Not very difficult. Portal triad. Three things. Brush border. Submucosa has a connective tissue. Submucosal glands are mainly your serous and mucous glands. Good. As you see the images, your percentage of getting correct answer increased substantially. 76%. Very good. Yes. So these are what? Images are very cleared. Images are very clear. Okay. These are the portal triad. Function both My question was in which function both Clara cells and type 2 cells are similar. No, they are actually functioning the surfactant part. No, the Clara cells are present bronchioles, small bronchioles. That is a function type. Okay, like you have the Clara cells, you have the alveolar type 2 cells forming around 9 to 10% in the terminal bronchioles. So in the alveoli, you have that in the Clara cells. Image, yes, Aditya, don't worry, these are just the questions. We have a after this, we have a total dedicated on all the images. I'll try to tell you the images also over here. It's all totally different, don't worry. Just we get some time. Okay, so this is the portal triad. Here you can see the portal triad. These are all the hepatocytes over here. Portal triad over here. This is your portal vein. You can see this big lumen. What are the two other things? Hepatic artery and the bile duct This will be your hepatic artery over here. Hepatic artery over here. You have this tunica media, and this is your bile duct. Duct is having the epithelium is your cuboidal epithelium. So this is your portal triad structure. Portal vein is this having a bigger lumen, and a small wall over there. Vein. The brush board is totally different. Obviously, these options they don't fit. If you just look at these three structures, you'll see that in the liver slide also. They are there. They are in the portal triad. Okay, try to identify this. Is it a trachea? Is it a colon, a gallbladder, or an esophagus? Or an esophagus, A, B, C, D? Yes. I'm just priming you with the MCQs so that you get primed. Okay, these are the images. Then if you look at the images, then you will be, I guess, more comfortable. That is why I started with the MCQs on theory and images. This is just like a practice session going on. We have all the images later on. Later on means after 5-10 questions of these, we will have the images. Around 50%. Okay. So yes, this is what. Yes, yeah. Go. This is your colon over here. I was saying same function as that. The what is the alveolar type 2 cell secrete? Yes, mainly goblet cells are those. Surfactant has to be secreted only in alveoli, but as other secretion glands are there in the bronchioles. So what are these? In this picture, these are the colon. How to identify the colon? Colon you can see from the lumen. Colon, they don't have much of a villi, but they will have like glands or the crypts going inside it. And if you zoom it, you will see what a lot of goblet cells inside it. Lot of goblet cells. So absence of villi, having all the characteristics of an intestinal wall, and high presence of goblet cells. These are the ones which are present in the this colon over here, in the colon slide over here. Okay. Yes, identify this slide over here. Is it a uterine gland, lactiferous duct, seminiferous tubules, or primary follicle? Okay. Okay, try to answer. Not very difficult though. Yes. Gland, lactiferous duct, seminiferous tubule. I guess if you have a basic idea, you will answer it. Gland appears like what? Follicle appears like what? Okay, very good. Around 50%, 30, one third of you going with the. Okay, very good, Iridium. Yes, one third of you going with this option, 50%, one half of you going with this. It is a primary follicle. How you can see this oocyte over here, the follicular cells outside, the ZP over here, the follicular cells outside. If it was a single layer of follicular, we will have called it a primordial follicle. This is primary follicle, some multi-layered cells of follicular cells. Uterine gland is totally different structure. It doesn't play. There will be acinis over there. Lactiferous duct, again a duct having the cuboidal epithelium. Seminiferous tubules, will see that they have all this Sertoli cells and the spermatocytes and the spermatids at the center. That is your the seminiferous tubules. Okay, so that is totally different from here. This is the primary follicle. Identify this. Pole ABCD. Is it a ciliary body, lens, cornea, or iris? Okay, very good. 60, okay, more than 60%, fairly good number. Yes, this is our cornea. Ravi, it's a simple rule in studies. What you know is always easy, and what you don't know is difficult. There's nothing like easy topic, difficult topic. What we know is always easy, what we don't know is difficult. Okay. Yes, this is slightly less complicated. Yes, this is the epithelium, and that is your big stroma, and that is the endothelium part. That is the endothelium part. That is your cornea. That is your cornea. Outer epithelium is stratified squamous epithelium, obviously non-keratinized. Okay, this will be like a Bowman's membrane, Descemet's membrane, and that is your stroma having a collagen fibers. That is a simple cornea. Lens is different, body is different, iris. These will all be having the pigmented cells. Ciliary body and the lens. Ciliary body and the iris will have the pigmented cells, not the lens. Although lens will have some different part. Okay, identify this, guys. Is it a mammary gland, a prostate, or testes? Be it simple. Don't complicate it. Very simple, straightforward. Is it a gland, prostate, or testes? Just look at it. Mm-hmm. Last five. Very good. Okay. 30, 33 with C and D. So good that one third of you went with this. That is the correct answer. Prostate, 30% of you are going with this. Prostate is what? It is a fibrous tissue. It is a fibromuscular glandular tissue. So are you seeing any glands over here? This corpus also. Are you seeing any glands over here? Are you seeing any muscle cells over here? Okay, it is simply tested. There are a lot of seminiferous tubules. There are a lot of seminiferous tubules. Have a look at it. There's a lot of spermatocytes filled inside it. In the prostate gland, you have to see some glandulars. You have to see some acini over there. You have to see some muscle cells over there. I'll show you the slide of prostate also. But this is simply our testes over here. Okay, and not obviously not the gland, mammary gland. Again, they will be asking for that more of the glandular tissue. Identify the histological feature, this arrowed part. Identify only this arrowed part. What is this over here? Capillary arterial adventitia or the media A, B, C, D. This arrowed structure, this part from here to here. I don't think this should be troubling you. Last second, 50, 40 with C and D. 50, 40 with C and D. Oh, don't hurry. 30 seconds or too much. Yes, so we can see over here, this is your endothelium part, tunica intima. That is your tunica media. This is your TA, tunica adventitia. You can see a lot of muscle fibers over here, a lot of muscle fibers, this radical smooth muscle fibers. Maybe if it is elastic artery, you will get a lot of elastic fibers. But which type of artery is this? Or which type of vessel is this? Is this an elastic artery? Or if I ask you a question, is this a muscular artery? What is your take on these two? Which one will you vote for? Muscular or elastic? Muscular or elastic? Muscular. Why? You're going with muscular artery. Okay, fine. But justify your answer. IEL visible is what Harsh is saying. IEL visible is what Harsh is saying. Internal elastic lamina. Very, very good point over here. Why? Because in the muscular artery, you will have the IEL visible. If it is an elastic artery, you will see a lot of elastic fibers. Plus, this won't be that easily visible internal elastic lamina because that will get submerged into the elastic fibers. So when you see so much of elastic internal elastic lamina, this is probably and a lot of smooth muscle cells. It is probably our tunica adventitia is the answer, and the artery over here is the muscular artery. Artery over here is the muscular artery. Okay. Okay, identify again this area which has been shown with this particular arrow, this area. The slide is of retina. Okay, is it the outer nuclear layer of rods and cones, inner plexiform, or the ganglion cell layer A, B, C, D? This slide of retina over here. 52, 25, 50 and 25 of B and C. For B and C, 50 for here, 25 for option number C. Answer is this. Okay, so this was a slide of retina. Let me just zoom it. Let me just zoom it over here to see all its relevant features. This is your choroid over here. That is a choroid. You can see the pigmentary layer. Okay, pigmentary layer having melanocytes, choroid. And this is your layer of pigment cells over here, number one. Okay, then you have this layer of rods and cones. That was the question asked. Then you have this what is it, the outer limiting membrane or external limiting membrane. This is your outer nuclear, inner nuclear, and the ganglion cell layer. These are three layers having cell bodies, and you can recognize these three cell bodies. This is the outer plexiform, inner plexiform layer. Okay, so outer nucleus is having what? Outer nucleus is having the nuclei of the rods and cones, which are actually over here. The nuclei are over here, rod R and C. Inner nucleus is having mainly the bipolar. So this plexiform will be having the synapses of the bipolar and the rods and cones. Inner plexiform will be having the synapses of the ganglion and the bipolar. And then deep to it, you have the layer of the axons of the ganglion cell, which are the optic nerve, which will go in this direction. And here you have the internal limiting membrane. So these are around 10 layers, which we call pigment 1, layer 2 rods and cones, layer 3 outer limiting membrane, layer 4 is this, layer 5 is this, layer 6, layer 7, 8, 9, and 10 is your this. Okay, watershed zone in which layer? Watershed zone, I'm not heard too much of watershed in this slide. Maybe you're talking of the retinal detachment, and this would be the area which is more prone for the retinal detachment. There is a layer between the choroid and the retina, area of pigment cell. If some other watershed will have search of it, or if you have any idea, let us all know. Watershed related to the blood supply. Blood supply is actually coming from the sources, mainly coming from the choroid area. So yes, maybe you're talking about the retinal detachment. So there was also a question. I will just have a look at it. Outer plexum, what? But there was a question which I just got from you. What you are asking, that where is the retinal detachment common, and why some embryological part of that was. So from the diencephalon came the optic stalk. It formed the optic vesicle, and that vesicle it formed the optic cup. Okay, from that cup you have this part, that is the retina, and what will be filling this over here would be the choroid over here, would be the choroid. Okay, some part like this. So this part was the one which was actually separated by the potential space over here. That leads to the retinal detachment. That is a cause for the RD, embryological cause for the RD was over here. Choroid is having a lot of pigments. Choroid is over here. Choriocapillary layer, the melanocytes are over here. Choriocapillary layer. Choroid is what? ICC, iris, ciliary body, choroid. They are what layers? They are known as the uveal layers. Yes or no? Uveal layers, they are having a lot of blood vessels inside them. So they are identified by their darker color. By their darker color, having a lot of blood vessels, and also few of these melanocytes will be at the junction of the retina and the choroid. Pigment cells over there. This can you identify this dark cell layer also? There are various type of detachments. Neural retina and pigment cell separate. There are 3-4 types of detachment, Harsh, that is studied in the ophtha. You have, I guess, tractional detachment. You have what we used to learn, rhegmatogenous, phlegmatogenous, something like that. Okay, so you have various type of detachment. You used to read that in ophtha part. Maybe if you go into the ophtha, you will get to it in detail. Phlegmatogenous, something like that. So embryological, this is the cause, because embryologically this is separate and this is separate. They are going to fuse. So this is the cause for its detachment, this area. Okay. Pigment cells will come from choroid. Yes, pigment cells will come from choroid, from its basal layer. Why? Because you have the pigment cells, so that light gets absorbed, else it will be dancing over here. So pigment cells normally come from the choroid layer only, right at junction. What is this membrane also known as? This membrane also known as at the junction of the choroid and retina. The membrane, what is the name of that membrane? Not limiting. Limiting is the outer and the inner limiting over here. This membrane, there's some name of it also. If you can remember that. Decimate. No, Bowman's and decimates was in the cornea. I guess some Brooks membrane. Some Brooks membrane over here. Okay, just have that name also in your mind. Brooks membrane. Okay, let us quickly do some other questions. Then we'll go to the images. There are around 5, 8, 10 more image MCQs left. Identify the histological feature. I guess this you can easily identify. This you can easily identify. Yes, that should be very easy. Last 2 3 seconds left. Very good. 30 and 60 with A and B. Simple. This was internal, not the external. This was internal, not the external. You can see over here that is a lumen over here. Internal IEL is actually more elastic or more wavy in character. This you can see some cells over there that has to be adventitia. Yes, this has to be a muscular artery only. This is the internal elastic lamina, not the external elastic lamina. Internal is actually more wavy in character. If you are listening carefully, then you will answer this question also from the same retina. What is this over here? What is this on the same question, same topic over here? Let me start the poll. Rod and cones, ganglion cells, inner plexiform, outer plexiform. If you have looked at the layers carefully, you will answer this question also. Just revised. No poll? Was the poll already there? And 54% got it right, Nitish? Just try to refresh. Yes, 50. Option C, that is the correct answer. Poll, I guess, is showing no that your guys are answering the poll. Obviously, poll should be there. Inner plexiform. So that was the inner IP, that was the OP. IP, your IP extension in Delhi. That is your outer plexiform. This is the outer nuclear, the inner nuclear layer. That is small less the ganglion cell layer. Okay. Yes, C is the answer. C is the answer over here. That is the inner plexiform. Okay, try to answer this. What do you think of this? Is it a kidney, liver, thymus, or spleen? Not very difficult, but still. Kidney, liver, thymus, or spleen? Last 10 seconds. Good. 3060 C and D. 3060 C and D. Yes, red and white bulb. See the problem over here, let me just take your 1 minute, guys. Not even 1 minute. Always in our MCQs, whenever we give exam like 4 or 5 options, we are normally stuck in 2 options, either A or B or C, whatever it is. So if we reach this stage, then we know that our 70-80% preparation is over. The main hurdle is now removing this confusion and coming to one answer. That is our final target. Most of us reach to, we can rule out 2 options, we are stuck with the 2 options. That is why we see that in the poll, that normally there's 40-50% or 30-40% with 2 options. Okay, so that is with the practice and studies and revision that you will remove that last confusing option also. So here it was a simple case of spleen, simple case of spleen. Okay, you're seeing the red pulp and the white pulp. This area, whole area is your red pulp, and this follicles over here are representing your white pulp, are representing your white pulp over here. Okay, the thymus over here is totally different. What will the thymus do? What will you see inside the thymus? Thymus has cortex and medulla separate. Thymus has, there's Hassel's corpuscles with a prominent structure over there. Yes, they are represented in the thymus, having different lobules and cortex and medulla over there. This spleen over here, it will also have a trabeculae. You can see this big trabeculae over here. You can see this big trabeculae over here. And see, basically, all the functionality is different. The role of thymus is different. The role of spleen is different. Their functions are different. What is histology? Histology is your basically you have to learn histology in a functional way. What is a functional histology? Means that if you know the function of an organ, then you know that these cells which are inside the organ, how are they contributing to its function. Like liver has a different histology, kidney has a different histology, completely different. Spleen has a different, lymph node has a completely different histology. So histology is nothing. If you know the function of an organ, then just try to look what cells are able to perform that function. That is your histology. Histology is nothing, something extra. Histology is nothing, something extra. Spleen, yes, Harsh already discussed red pulp and white pulp. Spleen circulation, open and closed circulation. Already also have a YouTube video regarding that also. You can check that also. But yes, I will show you some parts of it. We still have 40 minutes. After this 5-6 question, we'll come to all the slides. Because see, if we come to one thing only, others will obviously get hampered. So yes, you have other options also, but we'll try to cover them. Identify the histological feature, guys. Are these islet of Langerhans, this arrow part which has been zoomed over there, or Brunner's gland, or the crypts of Labercune or muscular externa? I don't think you will face much of a problem over here. But still, yes, trabeculae are also there. Aditya, trabeculae, big trabeculae in the spleen. Spleen mainly two functions. You have to clean the blood. You have to clean the blood, and you have to do your the macrophage and lymphatic function also. B lymphocyte. So two main functions of spleen. Therefore, you have like red pulp and white pulp. Okay, very good. 60%, a good number. Anything more than 50, 60 is always good. Yes, these are your Brunner's gland, which are found in which part of the small intestine? Duodenum. They are found in the submucosa part. They are found in submucosa. This is the mucosa part. Mucosa has a epithelium. It has a core of LP lamina propria, and it will also be having a muscularis mucosae. Muscularis mucosae. You'll see that in the images. Don't worry. Just 3-4 more. Not this. Not this. Done. Okay. Identify this. Identify this logical feature. This arrowed Brunner's ME or secretory epithelium. Good. In the next 5 minutes, we will be able to do the MCQs. Then we have complete around 30-40 minutes to discuss all the slides. Maybe get time, we can do some other questions from thorax also, just for a change. 70%, very, very, very good number. Okay. Muscularis, that is our muscularis mucosae. This is a muscularis. These are the parts of mucosa. The epithelium, the lamina propria would be over. That is the muscularis mucosae. This is your SM submucosa, and that is your muscle layer, muscularis externa or muscularis propria. Muscularis propria. Muscularis externa is this. Nitish is asking if this is your muscularis externa. Epithelium would be over here. Brunner's gland are not present. No, this is what? This is stomach. Yes, is this? Sorry, is this stomach? Yes, Harsh is asking, is this stomach? Yes. What are we looking over here? If we look into the glands, what are you able to see? Though not a very clear picture over here, but just to make you identify this part. But if you look into the glands, what is a lot of goblet cells? Look like a colon or a large intestine from this side. Looks like no, not jejunum, not jejunum. Looking like a lot of goblet cells, though it is not a very clear slide of epithelium. Mainly the slide was for you to ask for this muscle layer. Okay. Yes. Identify the histological features: the trachea, bronchus, respiratory, bronchial, or olfactory epithelium, ABCD. Just wait for 5 more minutes. We'll have all the slides also. We'll go through all the slides, giving few seconds. Main features. Next slide. Main features. Next slide. Main features. Next slide. Around 70%. Very, very, very good. That is your what? That is our respiratory bronchiole. You can see the alveoli, the respiratory bronchiole over here. Obviously, trachea will have bronchus. Pulmonary trachea will have big cartilage. Bronchus will also have cartilages and bigger in size. This is our respiratory bronchiole. Okay, this is our respiratory bronchiole. Okay. Identify this is what is it, a lymph node, a parotid gland, a submandibular, or a sublingual gland? Last 10 seconds. Oh, let me see what is happening. For 34, 46 is B and C. Okay, let me see. Terminal and respiratory bronchiole. Respiratory bronchiole will be actually just adjacent to the alveolar duct. Okay, alveolar duct. Okay, yes, the problem over here, yes, this is which is sort of acini. Are these darkly stained or loosely stained? These are your mucus acini. They are lightly stained, they are mucus acini. And the bulk of them is mucus acini. Okay, dark staining is present, so maybe serious. Where is dark staining present? No, no, no. See, let me zoom it. Let me zoom it. Yes, where is dark? The majority of this is all light staining. These are your ducts. These are your ducts over here. This is all light. I'll show you the parotid gland also. Just wait a minute. I will show you now only. Look at the parotid gland. This is your parotid gland over here. Just give me a few seconds. I will show you the parotid gland. All these three glands and try to differentiate them. Okay. Look over here. Okay. What are these sort of glands over here? Yes, these are known as your dark staining. These are known as your dark staining. Look at the acini over here. Okay, now look at the another figure, and look at this lightly staining mucus acini. Okay, look at these mucus acini. Having all of these are your mucus acini. Let me show you. All these are your mucus acini. Okay, and this is in between, that is submandibular having mixed, and this is mainly darker staining parotid gland. Okay, these are your parotid, submandibular, and sublingual. All these three types being shown over here. So that was also lightly stained. That was also lightly stained, and that was, I'm showing you again, that was basically a sublingual gland over here. Basically sublingual gland. Different slide, but yes, the same histology. Or some tissue slight preparation may be somewhat different. No? Okay. Identify the histological feature. Repeat what I will come to that image. Don't worry. Mucus acini, sublingual gland, poorly stained, lightly stained. Serous acini, parotid gland, darkly stained. In between, submandibular having mixed, so it is also having serous demilunes. Identify this over here: fungiform, colon, circumvallate papillae, or the plica circularis, A, B, C, D. After this, one more MCQ, then we'll go to a few images. Very good. These are circumvallate papillae. See, serous means more watery. Mucus means more. Mucus means having thick viscid secretion. These are your circumvallate papillae over here. The answer over here is circumvallate papillae. You can see this furrow shaped, these scripts being followed over here. The location of the taste buds and a few glands would be opening over here. These are known as von Ebner glands. These are known as von Ebner glands. The location of taste buds on the margins of the papillae. These are your CV papillae. CV papillae present mainly at the junction of the this tongue at just anterior to the sulcus terminalis. These will be the rows of circumvallate papillae, around 8 to 10. Some books says 10 to 12, doesn't matter much. Okay, and there are a lot of taste buds present around it. There are a lot of taste buds present. So look at this figure as we are talking of the glands. Here you have identify this A, B, C, D, and I identify this as we're discussing no about the salivary glands. This feature over here, I guess if you see it, you won't forget it. Is it a duct? Is it a crypt? Is it a circumvallate papillae? Oh, very good options. 30, 60 going with B and D. So 60% a good number. 54, 56 is, these are serous demilunes. What are serous demilunes? These are the serous acini, more directly sitting over the mucus. So here you can easily differentiate a serous from the mucus acini. This is the mucus, mucus, mucus. That is your serous, serous, serous. Now can you easily differentiate about the staining properties? Okay, yes, they will found mainly in the submandibular gland. They are known as your serous demilunes. Serous demilunes. They are pelvic preparation part. How they are prepared in the histological, they appear like sitting over the mucus acini. They appear like sitting over the mucus acini. Okay, now let us move to some images, and you are going to tell me what tissue is this. Yes, name this tissue. Name this tissue. An identifying feature. This is our compact bone. This is our compact bone, and what we are seeing over here, what we are seeing, the Haversian systems. We are seeing the Haversian systems over here. Okay, these are H1, H2 are your Haversian canals. Haversian canal over here. So this is your compact bone. Okay, compact bone. One more slide of this part only. You just zoom it. We'll just zoom it now. You can see the lacunes. L for lacunes, and C is for the canalicules. C is for the canalicules. L for lacunes have the osteocytes inside them. This is your Haversian canal. What runs inside the Haversian canal? That was also once asked. Haversian canal had the nerves and the vessels running inside it. Nerves and vessels running inside it. Okay. What is eye? Where is eye? Maybe in the previous image. Okay. What are these eye? What are these eye? Right answer. No, not Walkmans. Walkmans will be like again darkly stained connecting these. What is eye over here? Think and answer. Interstitial means between the two Haversian systems, interstitial lamellae. There is circumferential. See, these lamellae are known as circumferential lamellae. Okay, and there are outer lamellae, inner lamellae, and these are between the two systems. This is one system, another system, third system, fourth system, and between them few lamellae will pass. This is known as interstitial lamellae. Just their name. Don't worry much. This is again a picture of the longitudinal section. Now here again, if I zoom it, we are seeing the Walkman's canal over here. This is the Walkman's canal, which is connecting the Haversian. This is the Haversian, this is Haversian, this is Haversian, connecting them perpendicular to them. These are Walkman's canal. Okay, so these are your inner circumferential lamellae. I told you, no, inner circumferential lining the marrow cavity, and that is your interstitial system between the two Haversian system. Okay. Okay. So where are we? Here are we. This was a bone. How to recognize the bone? And if you recognize the bone, identify this type of bone. Which type of bone is this? If it's not a compact bone, it is obviously a cancellous bone, the spongy bone or cancellous bone. Okay. What we are seeing over here, HM is what? HM is your. What is HM over here? Try to answer. Try. Just try. Keep on trying. You may be maximally, you may be wrong. You can't be more than wrong. Maximally you will be wrong. What do you think is HM? HM is your what hyaline? What hyaline could be over here? Hyaline is a cartilage. What would the cartilage do inside the bone? Inside the bone. Bone and cartilages, they are a part of connective tissue. Yes, this is hematopoietic marrow. Very good, Harsh. This is your marrow. You are seeing few of these cells over here, the blood cells over here. This T is your trabeculae. This T is your trabeculae, which is actually the bone. Over here. And you can see this marrow, spongy bone. Is this a mature bone or immature bone? The cancellous bone is a mature or immature bone? Answer this also. In the meanwhile, mature or immature? Few of you going to say mature, few of you saying immature. It has to be somewhere in between, no? It can't be, both cannot be right. Has to be someone. It is your mature bone. It is highly mature bone. So when you talk of the bones, they are known as lamellar bone or the woven bone. Lamellar or the woven bone. Lamellar bone are those whose bone plates are in the form of lamellas. They could be in different directions. Woven bone is the immature bone. Yes, would also be calcified. Let me show you this figure over here. The figure is showing you the differences of L for lamellar bone, and this W, if you can see, woven bone, immature bone. So lamellas are arranged in lamellas. So if you look at the cancellous bone over here, This irregular shape, irregular plates are due to the compressive and the stressful forces which is applied to these bones. Where are these bones present in a long bone? Mainly at the ends of the long bone. They are mainly present at the ends of long bone. Because of all the pressures, their shapes they changes, but they are highly mature bone. They are highly mature bone. Please do remember they are highly mature without a doubt. Okay, don't forget this. Okay. And as okay, there's a label picture of the same thing, a label picture of the same thing. Okay, here what you can see, the trabeculae over here, the marrow cavities, the blood vessels, the osteocytes, the periosteum outside, and blah blah, everything over here that we already know. The Haversian system over here, this would be a compact bone. You can see the Haversian system, also known as osteon. The junction of this epiphysis and diaphysis may be over there. Yes, what is this over here? What is this over here? Name it fast, fast, fast. It is easy, easy, easy. There's a cartilage, very good. Which cartilage? That has to be your hyaline cartilage. Looks like hyaline cartilage. Why? It has cell nests over here which are having few what is it? Osteocytes over there inside the cell nest. And this is the outer part, that is a P for perichondrium. Perichondrium will have what? No, I'm saying osteochondrocytes. Perichondrium will have what? This is a small chondroblast over here. So these will be CBR, your CBR chondroblast, a small chondroblast. Perichondrium has an outer and an inner layer. Inner layer is chondrogenic layer. Inner layer is outer layer has to be some fibrous layer supporting tissue. Inner layer of perichondrium is chondrogenic layer, so it secretes the chondro means cartilage. Therefore, the initial cartilage cells are blast, they are small in size, and as they go more deeply, they become chondrocytes and they reside in the lacunae or cell nest. Hyaline cartilage. Why hyaline? Matrix M is for matrix, a clean matrix. You can't see any fibers over here. There are fibers, but the refractive index of the fibers and the matrix is same, so matrix looks homogeneous. Matrix look homogeneous, devoid of any fiber. There are fibers, we are just not be able to see with our so-called very good eyes. Okay, next over here, the same thing, hyaline cartilage. You'll see again the perichondrium. Look at the chondrocytes in the lacunae of the cell nest and the whole perichondrium outside. So small chondroblast over here, big chondrocytes in the middle. Big chondrocytes in the middle. Okay, name this quickly. Name this. Fibrocartilage. Very good. Fibrocartilage. Why? How to identify it? Identify it. These are your cells which are obviously your chondrocytes. They are arranged in rows. They secrete the collagen fibers. Yes. First of all, understand how is this shape. Yes, there is no perichondrium. Very good. But these chondrocytes will secrete the collagen fibers. Collagen fibers are so dense and so thick that they actually make a sandwich of these, that the chondrocytes are arranged in a rows. Why? Because these collagen fibers they sandwich them, and obviously it will also be lacking the perichondrium. It will lacking the perichondrium, but the main feature is you have to look for the row of chondrocytes. This is how we identify the fibrocartilage. And last cartilage is this. That is our. You can see a lot of elastic fibers. You can see the perichondrium. This is our. Very good. Identify this as the elastic cartilage. Big cells, not in clusters, and lot of elastic fibers. So this is how you differentiate this from the hyaline cartilage. Hyaline will matrix will be homogeneous, and there are small cells over there in the cell nest. Okay, identify this slide. What is this over here? What should be this over here? Not very difficult. Cardiac muscle, tendon, or skeletal muscle? Myocyte, cardiac muscle. Okay, this is a skeletal muscle probably. Why? Because the cells are, the nuclei is peripheral and the cells are multinucleated. Point number one. Second point is there are a lot of easily seen striations. Easily seen striations. Okay, so now let us zoom it. Let us zoom and try to see. Okay, you can see all these nuclei. Where are they? They are all in the periphery. The cardiac cells will have a central oval nucleus, and the striations are easily visible. Plus they are non-branched. and the cardiac cells are highly branched. Cardiac cells, I will show you the cardiac muscle cells also, so you can easily differentiate both of them. Where is our cardiac? Here is our cardiac. Look at the cardiac over here. This is the cardiac. First of all, they are branched. Second of all, you can see the what the nucleus over there. Where's the nucleus? You have a central nucleus. If you look at a TS, in the TS also you have seen the central nucleus, central nuclei. Branch central nucleus striations are not easily visible like this. In the slide, they are shown to be easily visible, that they are not. Plus, always you have this intercalated disc, which are not easily identifiable. Let me tell you this also. But in a histological slide, you have to wait for some time, few seconds, maybe a minute or two, to look for them, search for them. Intercalated disc, they are not easily identifiable. So it is branched. Nucleus is central and oval. Okay, striations are less and discs are present. Okay, these are the differences, how to differentiate a cardiac from the skeletal muscle. And smooth, I can understand, you can easily see by this spindle shaped cells. These are your smooth muscle. These are your smooth muscles, and the nucleus is over here. These are all the smooth muscle fibers. So smooth muscle have a spindle shaped cells. Clear? Can you differentiate now? Okay, look at this slide. What is this? No marks for guessing it. If you mark this wrong, you should be punished. Okay, yes, this is our spinal cord over here. This is our spinal cord. There is no room for marking it wrong. This is the gray and the white, gray horn and the white matter or the white horn outside. Central canal, anterior median fissure, posterior median septum over here. Okay, what is the extension of pyometer over here? Just to ask you, there, what is the extension of pyometer in the anterior fissure? What is that known as? If anyone can answer. Very good, Harsh. Linea splendens. Very good. Linea splendens just came to my mind as. Now, this is spinal cord. But spinal cord, you have cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, four different areas. Let us see them how to differentiate. Which level of spinal cord do you think is the upper one? Cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral. CTLS. Upper one is cervical, thoracic, lumbar, or sacral. And why? Justify your answer. Chino is going with lumbar. Why lumbar? Okay, why lumbar? Fasciculus cuneatus, fasciculus gracilis. Very good, Viraj. You are yourself giving the answer. Fasciculus gracilis is from the lower part of the body. Fasciculus cuneatus is from the upper limb and upper part of body. If you are seeing both of these two, it has to be the cervical a part of the spinal cord. Okay, it has to be the cervical part of the spinal cord. Okay. Plus, you can see the roots and all, they are going horizontally. You are seeing a thick white matter, Why? Because everything which is coming down is most, all the axons which are coming down, the descending tracts, they are bulkiest in the cervical, and all the ascending tracts, they will be also bulkiest in the cervical. Therefore, it has the thickest white matter, and obviously, as it is forming, the lower part will form the brachial plexus, so the ventral horn will also get thicker. So thick white matter, thick anterior ventral gray horn, having the two parts of the dorsal column, horizontal roots going on. What else do you need? It is our cervical part of spinal cord. Now, if you look over here in the lower part, this is what? This is very good. That is the thoracic part. Why thoracic part? Here you are seeing some differentiation of dorsal column is occurring. But main feature, you know, this L is for the lateral horn. L is for the lateral horn over here. Plus, you can see the difference. The white matter over here has somewhat decreased in the thoracic part of spinal cord. Compare the white matter of cervical with the thoracic. Compare the gray matter also. Here it was forming the brachial plexus. It is forming the, it is giving rise to the intercostal nerves. Intercostal nerves will supply the wall of the trunk only. T1 to T12. T1 may go to the brachial plexus. Whereas they supply the wall of the trunk only. Okay, so there are not that much of muscles over there. So the gray horn is less, the white horn is less, and yes, we know. Okay, coming to this part, below thoracic, what we have? The lumbar. If I say this is lumbar, how it is lumbar? Lumbar, you can see the dorsal column are not differentiated, they are one only. Suddenly the gray horn is increased in its size. Why? Now we have the job to supply the muscles of the lower limb. So the gray horn has increased again in size. Now those roots are not horizontal, they are all going down. Why? Because at L1 the spinal cord finishes, so you have the starting of the chordae equina, and same will occur on the sacral part of the spinal cord. Again, you have a lot of chordae equina, you have all the chordae equina over here. Gray horn is increased. Look at the gray horn compared with thoracic spinal cord and the lumbar spinal cord. The gray horn suddenly becomes larger in the lumbar because of lumbar plexus. And the white matter again is slightly decreasing. It decreases so much. Look at the white matter in the sacral part of the spinal cord. Okay, this is how you differentiate. You look at the chordae equina, you look at the gray and white matter, you look at the dorsal column. Okay, you may look at the thoracic part at the lateral horn also. So these 4 or 5 things, if you look, a very good question may come. It has not yet come, let me tell you, but a very good question will come asking you the type of the which is level of which spinal cord segment this slide has been taken up from. Okay. Okay. This is your NEET PG, guys. Answer this slide. This is your NEET PG. Answer this slide. Very good. That is a cerebellum. Molecular Purkinje granular layer. Molecular Purkinje ML, molecular PL Purkinje GL granular. Arbor YT over here. Very good. Purkinje, the large flask shaped, one of the largest cells. If we zoom it, it will look like this. These are your Purkinje cell. Molecular Purkinje and the granular. Stellate basket Purkinje, granule Golgi cells. Main 5 type of cells over there in the cerebellar cortex. This is your cerebellar cortex only. Okay, cerebellar cortex. Deep inside, if you go this area, that is your cerebellar medulla. You can say the white matter over here, having the axons, having mainly the axons. What is the sole output of the cerebellum? Cerebellar cortex. What is the sole output of the cerebellar cortex? Sole output is your Purkinje. Very good. Just one more question, if I may ask you, what is the only excitatory cell found in the cerebellar cortex? What is the only excitatory cell? Yes, these are your granule cells. Deep nucleus. Sole output of the cerebellum is from the deep cerebral nuclei. The sole output of cerebellar cortex is Purkinje cell. You are right in a way, Maleshwar, as saying deep nuclei. Sole output coming from the cerebellum is deep nuclei, but sole output from the cerebellar cortex is your Purkinje. Okay, what we are discussing over here, that Purkinje will give out the output to the deep cerebellar nuclei. These are the ones will come out as mainly in the superior cerebellar peduncle as dentatorubro-thalamic tract. As dentatorubro-thalamic tract. Okay, cerebellum, very important slide. I am showing the important ones mainly over here. This retina we have already seen. Just look at it again. The retina over here, all the 10 layers. So this slide will help you in revising all the 10 layers. Right from layer number 1, the pigment, layer number 2 over here, layer number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And Purkinje gives inhibitory to the nuclei, and nuclei gives excitatory to rest of the body. Nuclei, Nitish, are also, they're also stimulated by the climbing and mossy fibers. Deep cerebellar nuclei don't only receive the Purkinje. When the afferent fibers are coming in the form of climbing and mossy, those will also stimulate the deep cerebellar nuclei. So deep cerebellar nuclei is also stimulated by the climbing and mossy fibers. And Purkinje can be inhibited by the other cells like stellate basket and the Golgi cells. They will also inhibit the Purkinje. Okay. 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 Arteries we have seen. I'm not going to repeat the artery. I'll just ask you, which artery is this? Which artery is this? Elastic or muscular? Just answer this question. This is your elastic artery. There are a lot of elastic fibers. There are a lot of elastic fibers in the tunica media. Not muscular, it is elastic artery. You are seeing the internal elastic lamina, but that is actually hand drawn. Actually, it doesn't look like it. If you look into the tunica media over here, the muscle cells will look like more pinkish color, but here you can see a lot of black elastic fibers. I hope should be labeled somewhere. Yes, here it is labeled elastic fibers. So this is your what? This is your elastic artery. This is elastic artery. Let me show you the muscular artery also. Maybe this will clarify your muscular artery. Look at this slide. These are both are same. The staining is different. Look at the beautiful IEL over here. The wavy interelastic lamina, the muscle, the tunica media over here. the tunica adventitia over here. Okay, this is how the muscular artery will look. That was the elastic artery looks. And if we have, we can show you the vein also. Look at the large vein, easily differentiated by the smooth muscle cells in the adventitia. The muscle cells lie in the adventitia. That is how the large vein for the mainly supporting and sort of its acting as a reservoir and all. There are few muscle cells in the tunica adventitia. Large vein, not a small vein, rare veins. Okay, Malaysia is asking, Golgi cells inhibit what? Granule cells feedback inhibition. Golgi cells also inhibit. Yes, Golgi cells will inhibit all the cells, Malaysia. Okay, we are going to that topic. Don't worry. See, these are your Purkinje stellate basket Golgi granular. Granular is the only excitatory. Rest all are inhibitory. Rest all are inhibitory. So granule cells will excite this, and this. These will do what? They will try to inhibit these, this, and this, mainly the Purkinje. Why? Because this is the sole output, and where this output is going, it is going to the deep cerebellar nuclei. And deep cerebral nuclei is also being, by climbing and the mossy fibers, it is stimulated by them also. Climbing fiber will go to this, mossy fiber will go to this. Okay, so this is known as your, what is known as your feed forward inhibition, not feedback but feed forward inhibition. So this is feeded by this Golgi basket are feeded by this, and they feed forward. They forwardly they inhibit the Purkinje cell. Okay, forwardly they inhibit the Purkinje cell, so that it is at, and the output of Purkinje is a tonic contraction, is a tonic output. Yes, all are involved in the feed forward inhibition. Also look at in the physiology part. This is how much we know physiology at this stage. But yeah, somewhat it is this only. This is how the whole cerebellar circuitry work. Okay, this is how the whole cerebellar circuitry work out. Okay. Okay, now what is this slide over here? Yeah, I guess you can easily answer. Not the easy one, answer this one. Is also not very difficult. Oh, eagle eye, you liked it, good. Yes, what which slide is this? Name the slide. We are into the histological class over here. Spleen and lymph node. Nitish coming with spleen, others are coming with the lymph node. Yes, Nitish, all are going with the lymph node. Want to join them? Yes, join finally. Very good. This is the lymph node. You can see the main characteristics. You can see the cortex over here, having the cortex, this cortex over here, the capsule over here, subcapsular sinus. Subcapsular sinus, very important over here. Then you have this these trabeculae over here, and this is a lymphatic nodule, the cortex part and the medulla part over here, having the medullary cords. And this is the paracortical area. This is the paracortical area. Which sort of cells will be over here? Which sort of cells will be over? T or B? Yes, here paracortical area. Paracortical, we have mainly the T lymphocytes are over here. Cortex and the medulla over here. Okay, let me show you a few labelings, important labelings over here, so that you may remember at least somewhat. Subcapsular sinus is important. Lymphatic nodule in between, you have the germinal center, which is slightly paler, and you have this cortical sinus. These are known as cortical sinuses, where the lymphatic is flowing and it continues into the medullary sinuses. So that cortical sinus continues to medullary sinus. This is your paracortex, deep cortex, having the T lymphocyte. Okay, so try to memorize it. Lymphoid tissue, lymph node, which lymphoid tissue? Yes, lymph node, which lymphoid tissue? Primary, secondary, B or T lymphocyte? Secondary lymphoid organ. Okay. Yes. Yes. Name this organ. Name this organ. Yes. Mainly B lymphocytes. Mainly in the lymphatic follicle is the B lymphocytes. What is, yes, that is a thymus. You can see a lobule over here, outer cortex, inner medulla, lighter medulla. In the medulla, you have basically the Hassel's corpuscle. What are the Hassel's corpuscles? What are the Hassel's corpuscles? They are made up of what? What are they actually made up of? Concentric lamellae of, they having the concentric lamellae of which type of cells? Endothelial cells or epithelial cells? Basically the specialized epithelial cells, not endothelial, really specialized epithelial cells. Specialized epithelial cells. Look over here, this is how the Hassel's corpuscle look like. If you zoom it, look inside, is how the Hassel's corpuscle look like. Concentric lamellae of specialized epithelial cells over there. These are your, obviously the dead cells are over here. These are your Hassel's corpuscle. These are your Hessel's corpuscle. Okay, next slide. Yes, identify this one. Identify this one. What is this over here? Trabeculae, lymphatic, white pulp and red pulp. Look at the white and red pulp. The point over here, yes, this is the spleen. Now don't confuse with one thing which I may add over here. If you're looking at the arteriole, don't say okay, artery, red pulp. No, this is the white pulp. It is having the lymphatic cells over there. All other area, the blood is flowing slowly. These are the sinuses. This is your red pulp. All these venous sinuses over here, you have the red pulp. Here you have the lymphatic nodules. So don't look at the artery and jump that it is the red pulp. No, artery is not over here telling you the red pulp. It is known as central artery, but it is present eccentrically in the white pulp. Why it is known as central artery? Because this artery is surrounded by a periarteriolar lymphatic sheath, which I guess you know which type of lymphocyte is this. So this lymphocytes, yes, these are T lymphocytes. They are the one. They are the one. Is open and close circulation. Adit, I will just try to do over, but let me tell you, you go to the YouTube, you type this histology, you will get the answer. But as you have asked, let me tell you that this is the arteries which are coming. Okay, arteries which are coming over here. And arteries, they will actually branch off, and these will be your vascular sinuses. This will be vascular sinuses. So this is like a trabeculae over here. This is like an area of trabeculae where the blood is coming in this direction and going back in this direction, venous sinuses. So this is the area. This will be present in which area? Red pulp or white pulp? This is present in the red pulp. And this artery will enter where? Inside the white pulp. Okay. Now, if the cells directly from here, they jump to here, if they are close enough, this is known as your closed circulation. They are close enough. If they take a longer route, if they pass through the splenic cords of Billroth, then we say it as an open circulation. That is a major difference, though it is not much of a difference. It is just theoretical difference. There's hardly any functional difference if you take the open and the closed circulation. If you take the open and the closed circulation, there's hardly difference because already lymphocytes are surrounding this. So they directly go, but still there is some distance they have to cover. Why? These are the cells. They have the specialized capillaries over here by which they actually open out. No, it is not clinically significant. It is not clinically significant that a person's spleen has more of open circulation or a person's spleen has more of closed circulation. It's hardly going to make much of a difference clinically. Yes, these are known as actually sheathed capillaries. These are known as a sheathed capillaries. So that is a slightly bigger topic, but that was a zest of the discussion. There was a zest of discussion that I'm telling you, there's a whole lecture on it, so you can have a look at it. You will just try to understand that type histology of spleen, and you'll get some ideas from there also. Okay. Okay. Let me show you a couple of more slides, which I guess would be good for you. Yes, rest. Yes, something clinicals also should be doing. But telling of the histology over here, histology has to be dealt with us only. What can we do? Histology has to be dealt with us only. Okay, identify this guys fast. Central artery. Yes, what about central artery? We call it central artery because surrounded by the lymphocyte. That is why it is known as central artery, as it is present eccentrically in the in your white pulp. Which slide is this? Yes, that is your adrenal gland. That is your adrenal gland over here. Adrenal gland. Okay, you can see the cortex and medulla part. So you have the adrenal medulla also over here. This is the adrenal medulla. That is the cortex. Cortex divided into zona glomerulosa, fasciculata, reticularis. This is your medulla. Okay, fasciculata is lying in the fascicles. Zona glomerulosa and reticulata is a mixture of it. Okay, GFR. I guess we all know GFR, glomerular filtration rate. Same your glomerulosa, fasciculata, and reticularis. I mean, not same, but yes, you can learn from there. That was your adrenal gland over here, cortex and medulla. I'm looking for few good ones so that you have a general basic idea. That is the main motive over here. What else can we show to you? Okay, try to have a look at this. What is this over here? Yes. Okay, let me go with the starting one. Yes, what is this over here? Then we'll come to that. Don't worry. We asked that in the question. This one we asked in the question also. That was in the MCQ. Sublingual gland. Oh, tubule. Okay. Seminiferous. Seminiferous tubule. Okay. Yes, these are seminiferous tubules. Look at the testes over here. Look at the epididymis, the testes, the rete testes, the septa over here. Okay. This is a tunica, not tunica, but that would be some other theca, what we know, albuginea, theca albuginea, or sorry, tunica albuginea, right? Yes, this is your seminiferous tubule over here. Go slightly more distally, inside of a seminiferous tubule. Look at the Sertoli cells, they are slightly different. Look at the Sertoli cells, slightly different from the spermatocytes. The primary, secondary, tertiary, they go from the spermatids in the center. And what are these? Slide taken up from. These are your stereocilia. Answer fast. What is this? This is your epididymis. This is your epididymis. Okay, okay. What are these over here? Distal to epididymis, what we have? A thick muscular wall, inner circular, out middle, sorry, inner longitudinal, circular, and outer also circular. This is your vas deferens, having a lot of muscles. Why? Ejaculation. These muscles will contact ejaculation. Okay, vas deferens into ejaculatory duct. Okay, what is this over here? For the female part, ovary, you can see this oocyte, the zona pellucida, the follicular cells. The primary oocytes over here, the zona pellucida, the theca interna and the externa cells over here, theca folliculi cells over here. Okay, so these are your few of the ovaries also. Trying to cover. Okay, answer this quickly if you can. I don't think that would be much difficult. Yes, stains are different. Don't ask for the names of the stains. Stains are a lot of stains over here. Can't tell you all the name or number of stains over here. Just trying to take a class on it. But yeah, these are the colloid. These are colloid. So yes, these are the thyroid glands. These are thyroid glands over here. So that's it, guys. And yes, you have a lot of images. You download the PDF, you'll get those images. Okay, I have my Telegram group also. You can have a look over here. FT will look like what? FT will look like a lot of that what we say. In the fallopian tube, the lumen is very much branched because there are a lot of cells inside it. They are very much branched and folded. Folded would be a good word. Folded would be a good word. I will see if I have some FT over here for you. FT. No, not FT over here in this slide. Okay, yes, that's are different. So yes, you can join this Telegram group, and yes, you can discuss which subscription to take for and not. Code, you can use this code. What is this? Dr. ANKIT 10. Ankit Khandelwal, my name, ANKIT. Okay. Already course running on today, 6 to 8 p.m. We'll be completing the neuroanatomy, so you can join that also live in the plus course. And yes, all these details. Location of various cartilage. Any slide. I mean, not slide, just to identify the cartilage. Cartilage location is very simple, Tawheed. Whatever feels like this nasal cartilage and all, they are the hyaline cartilage, this is elastic cartilage, mainly hyaline cartilage. Some just have to look for the examples of fibro and elastic cartilage. Just look for examples of fibro and elastic cartilage. All other are hyaline. Simple, though you don't need to have any location. And when you are reading that elastic and the fibro cartilage, look that elastic will be highly flexible and fibro cartilage will be very tough. So the location that depends on it. Eagle eye leader. Okay, leaderboard. You guys are okay. You guys want leaderboard? Okay, I will ask you a question. Answer that question. We'll see the leaderboard. Okay, tell me a question of the abdomen. You want leaderboard? Okay, take this question. Answer this question. Which of the following type of hernia usually follows the course of process vaginalis through the inguinal canal? Femoral direct this and that and that. Answer this question. We'll get the leaderboard. Yes. 10 more seconds left. Question is, I don't think much difficult. It follows the course of the processus vaginalis. It is following the course of the processus vaginalis. So which type of hernia? Very good. Okay, guys, 20% going with direct also. It is an indirect hernia. Oh, I just forgot to. Sorry. I just forgot to click on that part. Just you have to wait for 30 more seconds. I just forgot in describing the question. I forgot to click on show the leaderboard. My mistake. I owe you 30 seconds. So in the meanwhile, I will explain it. This time I won't forget it. Direct inguinal is coming from the Hasselbeck's triangle directly. and this one is coming from the deep inguinal ring to your what we say as the oh, as your through the superficial inguinal ring. Okay, so that is an indirect hernia. It is carrying from the processes inguinalis. That is a leaderboard. So Harsh got it. INICT different from NEET PG. INICT is an institute of national importance. I'll tell you, Chandan, and this is a leaderboard. I guess you got the leaderboard, guys. So congrats to all of you. And for those who are not there, congrats to them also. Because if you revise and do, you will achieve. So how is INICT different? INICT different. You get into central universities, you get better exposure over there. So questions are slightly different, more clinically based, more applied questions, more image based comparatively to the NEET PG. Well, if you talk me, you ask me about the long term, it only depends on your caliber. How much your caliber is when you are entering into any field. That depends on you yourself. So either it is a AIMS Delhi or is it any small medical college in any peripheral part of the country. If the guy has a, this thing over here has a caliber in himself, then he will obviously do good. Okay, so yes, there is some difference, but in the long term, it all depends on you. So this was a question from the abdomen part. Answer was indirect inguinal, and you have seen the leaderboard. Okay. I don't know. I'm not in that panel, but yes, let us see what holds on. In the meanwhile, you guys just prepare for your exams. Okay. Prepare for your topics. You'll get it. Okay. Okay. So that's all. See you soon, guys. And that's it. This was the thing which I already discussed with you, Telegram group and code and all. Okay. So bye bye and stay safe.